The old traditional tango was very boring. There have been no changes in that music for at least 40 or 50 years until I come in. My music has all the primitive tango from the bordellos until today. You can hear it underneath. On top of that music, you can hear good music. I try to do good music, but underneath that, I think it's in my blood that I'm a man of tango.
I feel I am surrounded by Astor Piazzolla. Sometimes I feel I am surrounded by my father, but to me, Astor Piazzolla is one thing and my father is another. I'm a great admirer of Astor Piazzolla, but I am not a great admirer of my father.
I love my father. I remember the man, Astor, and I hear the music of Piazzolla, but I remember the man.
Astor was the best bandoneon player that's ever played the instrument. He was the virtuoso performer as well as composer, and he was a dynamic band leader.
There really is a psychological and emotional depth that you don't find necessarily in contemporary music. And I think overwhelmingly the impression it leaves with an audience is of this emotional depth, really, and a sort of darkness, you know, there's a darkness at the heart of the music.
It gets under your skin. Jazz musicians say, it's what it does, world music, classical music. What I love about the music is that he is claimed by everybody to be one of theirs.
Since Astor Piazzolla died in 1992, his musical reputation has kept on growing. But as a composer, he is difficult to place. So in all the record stores, CDs of his music, played by himself and others, can be found under many headings, from classical to jazz and world. In Buenos Aires, where once his innovative tango music was reviled, an old cabaret theatre has now been privately renovated and relaunched in his memory. Attached to the cabaret are a restaurant, museum and souvenir shop. This shrine to Piazzolla is an index of how his status, both at home and abroad, has changed in the years since his death. Many photos and memorabilia have been loaned by members of the family.
This bandoneon is from my collection, so it belongs to my father. He played with this bandoneon in German. It was the last trip he made. After that he was sick. So I love this bandoneon, and I'm very happy to have this place. There were cabarets here long ago. Gardel was here singing, and now it's Piazzolla. So if you see the ceiling, it's marvelous. It's the face of my father.
Among the mugs and T-shirts are copies of Piazzolla's biography, written by the late English writer Simon Collier and his Argentinian co-author, Maria Susana Azzi.
One day, my friend Simon Collier said, well, I'm thinking of writing a biography on Astor Piazzolla. It can be a collaboration, a joint venture. And I said, well, yes. So we started to work, and it took us 4 years to complete this book. There are 240 people interviewed.
Through Piazzolla's family, friends, and musical associates, this film biography explores the life and work of a brilliant musician and complicated man who challenged and transformed the traditional world of tango.
Pero aquí está Buenos Aires, un refugio cosmopolita de América, un crisol de multitudes, una nueva y maravillosa...
Traditional tango developed as the musical expression of a uniquely Argentinian cultural brew, mostly European, but spiced with elements from Africa and the Orient. Astor's grandfather, Pantaleon, was among the waves of Italian immigrants who arrived at the end of the 19th century. A sailor and fisherman, he settled south of Buenos Aires in the fashionable ocean resort of Mar del Plata. His son Vicente married Assunta Manetti in 1918, and their only child Astor was born 3 years later in 1921. Over the years, the town has changed enormously, and traces of the Piazzolla's life here hard to find.
Gracias. We're approaching the place where Astor was born. Here. He was born here. Unfortunately, the house no longer stands here, but there is a plaque, a little landmark.
When Astor was 4, the family moved to New York. His father had relatives there and went in search of a better life. Vicente's passion was motorcycles, but he earned his living as a barber. And during Prohibition, Vicente's brother used Astor as a decoy when ferrying bootleg whiskey in his sidecar. A plaque now marks where the family lived on the Lower East Side. Vicente Piazzolla loved tango music, and one day, finding an old bandoneon in a junk shop, he bought it for his son.
This is the first bandoneon.
And how rare were bandoneons in New York then?
That's why my grandfather bought it, because he never saw a bandoneon in New York. And he saw this one and he bought it. It's small. I think it's for kids, so small.
My father gave it to me when I was 9 years old as a birthday gift. So since I'm 9 years old, I'm playing it. It has a left hand with the low notes. And the right hand like a violin. 8 notes, a chord of 8 notes on it. I mean, it's rather difficult in the right hand. I mean, if you do a scale, you use this technique. And when you close the C, instead of being here, it's up here. It changes. And in the left hand, it has 2 techniques completely different from the right hand. You do the C starts here, and when you close, it starts here. So it's very diabolic. I mean, the person who's interested in learning this instrument must be a little out of his mind. Father bought it for me because he had he remembered Argentina and the tangos.
On one occasion, young Astor's skill on the bandoneon caught the attention of a well-known Mexican mural painter.
And Astor, he was a kid. And Diego Rivera did the drawing with carbon. It was an accident. You see it? Here is the D, and here is the R. Diego Rivera.
But it was another, this time musical encounter in New York that proved more significant. His father had engineered a meeting with the Argentinian tango superstar, Carlos Gardel.
A great Argentine singer came to New York City, and I worked with him. I played in the films of Carlos Gardel.
Astor's movie debut lasted all of 12 seconds.
Muy estricto.
Just 2 years after this film, Carlos Gardel died tragically in a plane crash.
He was a traditional, but he was very much avant-garde. He had a very modern feeling of singing.
Todo es mentira, mentira te lamento. Hoy está solo mi corazón.
Barcos anclados saludaron solemnes la vuelta de Gardel. Las milongas pusieron silenciador al fuelle. Las palomas del puerto volaron sobre él.
One chapter in the history of tango had closed. Another was about to open up. Nostalgic for his homeland and a victim of the Great Depression, in 1937, Astor's father decided to quit New York and return to Mar del Plata with his wife Asunta and their teenage bandoneon-playing son.
The house Nonino bought in 1937, and they lived here, and he also had a bicycle store. The house, which is called Diana, after Astor's daughter, has now become a Chinese restaurant.
After Gardel, Argentina's most popular and respected tango bandleader and composer was Aníbal Troilo. At the age of 18, Astor joined him as a bandoneonist and arranger. In time, his arrangements began to cause problems.
And Troilo was always telling him, well, please don't add any more notes to my music because people are not going to like it and won't dance to it. So in the end, Piazzolla left Troilo and he started to do his own music.
I was seated on the stairs like this while they were playing. Those are my first, what I remember, the first time I went with him.
As Astor's music had begun to change, so had his life. Diana and Daniel's mother was Dede Wolf, a talented artist who'd married Astor in Buenos Aires in 1942. For years, it was a happy marriage.
Everybody took the 3 Ds, D of Astor Piazzolla. It was Daniel, Diana, and Dede, his wife, my mother, because we were always together.
Y ella dejó prácticamente su vida para dedicársela a él y a nosotros, ¿no? For my mother is not Piazzolla. For my mother is Astor. She says Asti when she was with him. Astorcito. She remembers that Astor. O sea, she loves that Astor, not the musician Piazzolla, but the man.
from Mar del Plata to Buenos Aires was a 250-mile journey across flat pampas. For 15 years, the family home was a small apartment in Asamblea.
I get very nostalgic when I see this number, 1276. It was the number of the first house I lived, and the place where we lived 14 years old with my father. I was very happy, and I think my father was very happy.
All the music he wrote, you can see the way he was, for the way he was composing. When he was with my mother, he was trying to be perfect in so many ways.
I remember, this very nice music. I remember Prepárense. Prepárense is a music that he make here in this house. Prepárense, it has to do with, you will be what I'm going to be. My father say, prepárense para lo que venga.
In 1954, Diana and Daniel were left for a year with their grandparents in Mar del Plata, while Astor and Dede went off to Europe. Astor wanted to leave tango behind and become a classical composer. And a music scholarship gave him the opportunity to go to Paris as a pupil of Nadia Boulanger.
It was so important because Nadia Boulanger was the woman, was one of the most important women in my father's life, because she was the one that told him, this is the way you must go.
When Nadia Boulanger analyzed my music, she could find maybe Ravel, she could find Stravinsky or Bela Bartok or Hindemith, but never Astor Piazzolla. So she wanted to know what I was doing. I was ashamed, but at last I told her, look, Nadia, I play tangos. And she says, I love tango.
And my father sat down on the piano and played a piece that is called Triunfal. This is the original master.
I always say there's somebody in the back of me who just pushes me in life and tells me what to do. I'm sure about that. Nadia Boulanger made me play this tango. I played it for her, and she says, you idiot, don't you know, this is Astor Piazzolla.
Piazzolla I met in Paris in 1955, I think it was. We were both studying at the same time with Nadia Boulanger. Piazzolla has given the tango a new lease of life, not because he made it more popular in many countries where it wasn't until then, but because he found a very natural way to develop it.
Daniel Barenboim was also porteño, born in Buenos Aires, where he lived till he was 9. In 1997, he returned there to record a nostalgic CD of famous tango compositions, including several by Piazzolla.
Piazzolla came and harmonically especially developed it and modernized it in a way which it stopped the tango from just becoming a relic of the past.
And Nadia Boulanger, she says, this is your music. You could throw the rest of that music away. I've got all that music of 10 years or 15 years of my life. I threw all that music away and I started with the new tango. Zero Hour was composed when I used to work in the nightclubs and the cabarets in Buenos Aires, when we used to play till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And there was nobody in the street. The only thing you can hear is a siren of an ambulance or the police.
I remember the first record I heard was Tango 0 Hour. That was the first Piazzolla music I'd ever heard. And it just struck me immediately because I couldn't pigeonhole it at all. As soon as I heard it, there's some music like that, you know, you just want to play it.
The accordion player, James Crabb, and pianist Joanna McGregor are among a growing number of classical musicians drawn to Piazzolla's music. To rehearse for their first London concert, they were joined by 3 of the Argentinian musicians who'd played with Piazzolla.
Well, in this case, I was a little anxious because, you know, playing with the great musicians who actually play with Astor Piazzolla, they know the music in and out. And I know that they demand things, but it's always in a very, very nice and sympathetic way, and it's a wonderful way to work.
Piazzolla's written scores are very elaborate and present a real challenge to non-tango players.
Always.
Well, the rhythm that comes back and back and back is the 3 + 3 + 2, you know, so that kind of thing. You hear it in all his music, you hear it fast and you hear it slow and you hear it, and it's like a pulse, it's like a certain kind of heartbeat. I think this is where, you know, the style of it is hard. It's hard because it's hard for an outsider, you know. It's something that just takes a lifetime of playing.
Está bien ahora. Ahora está bien. Pero antes no.
Something funny earlier there.
As a violinist, Fernando Suarez Paz was much in demand when Piazzolla asked him to join his quintet back in 1978.
Entonces dudé en su momento. Mi esposa me dijo, no, si siempre te gustó la música de Piazzolla, ¿cómo vas a decir que no? Pero que yo gano mucho dinero, el dinero no es importante. El dinero no es importante, lo importante es la música. Mi esposa me empujó.
The best way is to play with guys like this, you know. It's fantastic, really, to work with people who have been playing this for, 40 years, and who actually were with Piazzolla for such a long time.
Orazio Malvicino was Piazzolla's first electric guitarist.
I was at the beginning and the end. With Astor, I was more or less 40 years, from 1954, when we began with the Buenos Aires Octet.
Everybody. So everything's coming on the second.
Playing for Astor was something very special, and when he died, I always think that he sometimes are with us and sometimes are not with us. Today, we were playing at the rehearsal, and the first time I told to James, the first time he was not here, he was upstairs. But the second time, he was here, and we played completely different, and everything was so warm and so wonderful that it's something very important for us.
It has every possible thing you want in music. The yearning, the passion, the restrained passion, I think it's everything you want music to be.
Yo-Yo Ma's 1997 CD was an earlier very successful collaboration with some of the people who'd played with Piazzolla.
I went to Buenos Aires and met some of the musicians that worked with him, and that was when I completely fell in love with the music. Malvicino was sort of, for me, the historian.
The cello must be a very big and important cello, like Yo-Yo Ma. We did the record with Yo-Yo Ma, then with him and with Fernando, and we won a Grammy. But it's difficult to get somebody like Yo-Yo Ma, you can imagine.
One of the pieces that I played was a construction of some outtakes of Piazzolla's music that Jorge Calandrelli, who wrote a piece around it. It's kind of strange, but I got to play with him through the technological means, but playing with him meant actually feeling his breathing and his pulse, and so there was a physicality to that part of the recording that was rather remarkable.
Vous avez écouté la nouvelle musique, le nouveau tango de Buenos Aires, d'Argentine, et je voudrais présenter le soliste en guitare, Horacio Malvicino.
As Piazzolla's first electric guitarist, Malvicino had to explain to him the rhythmic possibilities of the instrument.
I have to contract myself the way of the company, because he don't know how to play guitar. So I begin trying to do the 3-3-2. I put another things doing, for instance, and trying to do like the Brazilian. I used to do this. or things like this. I took some parts of the flamenco style, and we do a mezcla of sounds, and that is very wonderful. At the beginning, everybody said that that was no tango, and of course, it's not tango, but not traditional tango.
Je voudrais vous présenter le soliste Oscar López Ruiz, guitarra electric.
For over 20 years, alternating with Mal Pacino, was another guitarist from the jazz world, Oscar López Ruiz.
Fought with the traditional musicians who were against him, you know. Astor was very subversive for everyone here, and it still is. You know, they don't love him too much here in Argentina, and of course the tangueros, not at all. Still, from now, no? So, I remember he had a big fight here. But I think he enjoyed it. Yeah, he was a fighter.
I mean, you should study music in this life, but you know, you have to know how to defend yourself. You must know a little about. Today you learn a little karate and all that. It's very important too. And if you decided to change music, you better know something about boxing or martial sports. But just the same, the people who menaced me in those moments, today, maybe they're my friends. Maybe they love me. Maybe, I said. I'm not sure of it.
He was very clever. Once he listened to a musician a couple of times, he started writing the way he played best.
López Ruiz has written a personal memoir of Piazzolla, its title taken from Piazzolla's famous Ballad for a Madman.
Buenos Aires. No me acuerdo, no sé la letra, no me acuerdo la letra. Yo sé que estoy piantao, piantao, piantao. Yo miro a Buenos Aires. No me acuerdo la letra. I never played with him, but this was a big success in the world, you know. So the publisher of my book, he decided to put Piazzolla Loco, 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 because many people here, many musicians, many people who knew him, called him El Loco. But I used to say that I didn't write it, Astor did, with his anecdotes and his doings, you know? Because he was so funny, really, so funny, so he was always joking, you know, always thinking a new joke for a new guy. Incredible. And he was, you know, a big joker, but never with music, never. With his music, his own, you know, work. And once he told me, you know, that music is the most in my life, most than my wife, my children, my grandchildren, most than everything, most even than my own life. But I must take care of my life because I need it to make music.
In 1964, Piazzolla took the provocative decision to introduce a percussionist into his tango orchestra.
Esta.
The man he chose was Leon Jacobson.
Dos bongos y tres tontones.
But Piazzolla had chosen Jacobson sight unseen. So when they did meet in a cafe, for Jacobson it came as a complete surprise.
Ah, no, me dijo. Eso es, como que dicen en italiano, de eso no se habla, me dijo. Ya lo tengo recomendado por Bragato. Es Leon Jacobson del Teatro Colón. Entonces, maestro, me voy a presentar. Me paré y le dije, maestro, yo soy Leon Jacobson. Y esto que estoy contando, en este momento me corrió frío por acá atrás. Y yo tenía 21 años. Yo no dormí esa noche. La música de Astor, sí, tiene cosas percusivas, absolutamente, porque inclusive él en su forma de tocar, y este es un país que ha dado grandes bandoneonistas, pero Astor tenía un toque especial que a mí siempre me cautivó, que es ese staccato. Es una palabra italiana que staccato significa destacado. Triángulo. Arte puro. Y ya siempre me ponía como good flesh, lo que nosotros decimos en español, piel de gallina. Se me pararon todos los pelos acá del brazo y un poco lagrimié, un poco me hizo cry.
When I did that, it just blew.
Having first used a classical percussionist, Piazzolla then chose a jazz drummer, Enrique Zurdo Reusner.
El famoso Zurdo Reusner, que ya es también un hombre que viene del jazz y que ya está metido dentro de la música de Buenos Aires.
Y después ya venían cosas escritas así. Acá dejó que la batería creara algo, más que creara que descubriéramos alguna cosa que le gustara. It made me walk and think, y no era fácil para mí. Él tiene en su música momentos muy melancólicos, muy lentos, donde va todo muy en cuatro, pero a veces tiene un cierto dramatismo. En un momento dado, yo tocando uno de esos temas, agregué un golpe en el tontón grave, y él se dio vuelta y me dijo, eso.
Y para mí fue como si se abrieran las nubes y saliera el sol. Fue maravilloso. Me gustaría hablar de esta foto, que para mí es un recuerdo muy impresionante, porque esta foto estuvo tomada en los ensayos para tocar con la Filarmónica en el Teatro Colón.
Yo creo que lo principal en la vida de un músico es amar la música. Si viene un médico me prohibiera tocar, yo no dejaría de tocar y seguiría escribiendo, porque eso es amor, eso es ganas de tocar, eso es entusiasmo, eso es diversión arriba de un escenario, eso es estar feliz arriba haciendo su música.
Back in 1958, Piazzolla's single-minded musical ambition took him to the United States for the first time since his childhood.
Cuando papá decidió irse a Nueva York, él estaba convencido que iba a conquistarla.
In pursuit of this dream, Astor uprooted his 2 teenage children and wife Dede to a bleak apartment on New York's Upper West Side.
Papá ya decía que estaba todo preparado allá, todo listo, había alquilado un departamento. Y cuando llegamos no había nada. Ya estaba el departamento vacío, no tenía un mueble. Y mamá dice, bueno, vende todo. Y fue dolorosísimo para ella porque ella es una mujer muy apegada, es muy parecida a mi hermano, a las fotos, a los objetos. Tuvo que vender todo lo que en la calle Asamblea tenían. Fue un dolor terrible, ¿no? And my mother never went outside. My mother never learned English. And in New York, he begins to have panic attacks. And my father, I think he was very sad in New York because he had to make music that he don't like. And we live with not much money. Very many problems there.
Zero cash in house. At home, he used to buy the soap bars, it's correct, soap bars, and cut it in half, put one in the kitchen, one in the bathroom, the only bathroom. So that's the way we live. But this is a picture taken in New York. Well, he was very funny when he wanted, and he was very tough when he wanted. We used to eat rice 4 or 5 days a week, but it wasn't poverty. We had food, enough food. Rice was enough. Many problems, and my father begins to change. I think he was with some woman. I don't know.
In 1959, while on tour in Puerto Rico, Astor received a phone call which changed his life, both professionally and personally.
My cousin of Mar del Plata, my cousin, ¿no? Mi primo, say, no, Nino is dead, ha muerto, ¿no?
Nonnino means grandfather in Italian, and my children used to call my father Nonnino. So when he died, I wrote this composition called Adios Nonnino. That's why it's like a requiem.
He loved so much his father, but so much, and you can feel the sadness of that piece. And he didn't I mean, that's the way it came. The way you hear it, it's the way it came to him.
When they went back to New York, 92nd Street, he said to my mother, to me, and to my brother, he said, please leave me alone. We respect him very much, tenía mucho. And I am very, today is a day, very difficult day for me. And he began to play. Muy music, de marvelous music, muy triste, terriblemente triste. Y it's the only piece, la hizo en el bandoneón. And he played Adiós Nonino and he cried.
Nonino was buried in the family vault in the cemetery of Mar del Plata.
My grandfather died in 1959. After that, my father started to flirt with girls, and there started it was the beginning of the end. You know what I mean? Of the family, one word, ¿no?
Muere mi abuelo y él cambia. Es como si se le hubiera caído el sostén de él, ¿no es cierto? La norma moral, no es que por eso haya sido un hombre inmoral, pero que se le acabó esa norma que le imponía a mi abuelo. Él decía en un momento, mi mamá le dijo una frase que es muy, muy importante cuando la dejó. Dice, don't be mistaken, le dijo, no te equivoques. I am Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. O sea, Dr. Jekyll in the day, Hyde in the night, ¿no? O sea, como que él tenía dos personalidades, y yo pienso que sí.
My father always told me one thing, I never look to the past, never look back. I always look forward. That means that when he broke with my mother, he forgot everything in the past and just look ahead. I don't like his thinking.
Cuando él se fue, bajó esas escaleras, que yo nunca me olvido, de la calle Entre Ríos, donde ella vive, y dijo, me voy, y nosotros le preguntamos, ¿qué? Bueno, hasta luego. Dice, no, me voy para siempre.
I think being selfish is something horrible. And that was his religion, being selfish. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
But it never affected your admiration for his music?
Never, absolutely.
Astor rompía estructuras, destruía paredes, estructuras, para seguir camino con su música. Y sí, era un loco, pero un loco lindo.
In 1968, Piazzolla began a 7-year relationship with the singer Amalita Baltar.
Por 6 o 7 meses a París. Gracias a la invitación del Mozarteum argentino.
¿Llevan el tango a Francia ustedes? Bueno, Astor ya estaba en Francia y he hecho grabaciones en Francia hace ya algunos años.
Según la mujer que tenía al lado, él escribía. I mean, and he wrote all the music he wrote in that period was, for example, all the baladas, all the music, singing music. All the music he wrote for a singer was because he was in love with a singer.
Buenos Aires, abril de toda mi tristeza. Queridos árboles y amadas chimeneas que dan la sombra y dan la nube de mi barrio. Mi dolor ha inventado el dolor de otra cruz en la misma raíz. Todo pasó.
Yo cantaba en un café concert, me escuchó cantar, le interesó y me quiso conocer. Y al poco tiempo me llamó para decirme que yo era María de Buenos Aires. Y yo no sabía que era María de Buenos Aires. Y dije, María de Buenos Aires, ¿qué es? Ah, una ópera que estoy escribiendo y quiero que vos seas la protagonista. Bueno, ok. Así fue, muy sencillo.
Nos dolía al principio y no al fin.
Según él, mi voz era muy dramática.
Y a un balcón oloroso a mi voz, pónganle 2 lutitos de hollín, la sombra de María.
The libretto was written by the Uruguayan poet Horacio Ferrer.
Esto es el libreto original de María de Buenos Aires, que escribí en una máquina Underwood, con 2 dedos, que yo le entregué a Astor Piazzolla para que él lo juzgara y le pusiera música.
¿Qué tal? ¿Usted es el que se queda todavía un poco más?
Sí, yo me quedo 15
Although Maria de Buenos Aires was sadly a commercial failure, it marked the beginning of a very successful partnership.
Y bueno, su amigo adolescente fue el hombre que él encontró para hacer la obra que quería. Y escribimos 75 títulos juntos en 20 años. Son 2 tomos, aquí está el segundo, pues no tengo el primero, perdón, que se llama Los tangos de Piazzolla y Ferrer. Trabajábamos mucho, trabajamos todos los días y la verdad que era una fiesta trabajar con él, pues un verdadero creador, una fuente de música. Y llegaba y me dice, bueno, quiero ver lo que escribiste, quiero ver lo que escribiste. Era una especie de desesperación por ver lo nuevo, qué es lo que yo había inventado.
Out of this close collaboration came a distinctive fusion of poetry and music.
Ya sé que estoy piantao, piantao, piantao. ¿No ves que va la luna rodando por Callao? Que un corso de astronautas y niños con un vals me baila alrededor. Bailá, vení, volá.
Y él seguía tocando. Ya sé que estoy piantao, piantao, piantao. Yo miro a Buenos Aires del nido de un gorrión y a vos te vi tan triste. Y cuando yo dije que a vos te vi tan triste, dejó de tocar, me miró y tenía los ojos llenos de lágrimas. Fue una cosa tan muy... y cerró el piano.
Loco, loco, loco. Cuando anochezca en tu porteña soledad, por la ribera de tu sábana vendré con un poema y un trombón a desvelarte el corazón. Loco, loco.
Amelita Baltar also sang this ballad for a madman, and it became an instant hit.
Astor no estaba muy conforme, porque para él, para un loco, era solo una canción. Y él ya había escrito obras muy importantes, conciertos. Entonces se enojaba un poco que se hubieran abierto las puertas de la Argentina para él con esa pequeña llave.
A unique archive fragment preserves the power of the performance, if not the quality of the sound.
Presentamos un domingo en el festival y 5 días después había vendido 200.000 placas, que eso para el tango es algo que no creo que debe ser único.
When Piazzolla broke up with Amanita, his life and music changed again. In 1975, for the first and only time, Astor Piazzolla went electronic. He became much closer to his keyboard-playing son Daniel and brought him into his new 9-piece band.
I play with my father's synthesizers and org with the Octeto Electrónico, with electronic octet. It's one of my professional's most happiest moments, professional moment, really. He was trying to conquistar, how do you say conquistar? To conquer much more audience. We were not only father and son, we also were best friends. We go to fish together, we go hunting together, we play together.
The drummer was Zurda Reusner.
I think that was one of the best times for Daniel with his father.
Did his father respect his playing?
Oh yeah. Yeah, if not, he wouldn't be there. Not with Astor.
Orazio Malvicino played lead guitar.
I think that playing with my father is one of the most difficult things that could happen to a musician. He was so extremely, how do you say? ¿Cómo se dice? A ver si me acuerdo en castellano. Era tan exigente. Exigente de tal forma que uno subía a tocar con él con placer, gran placer de estar tocando con Astor Piazzolla y al mismo tiempo gran miedo de cometer un error, equivocarse.
Bueno, en esta foto expresa un poco, bueno, la unión que hubo entre Daniel y papá, ¿no? Una unión creo que más que nada musical, o sea, aparte de padre e hijo bastante contradictoria, creo que musicalmente los dos, si bien se llevaron bien, también en algún caso hubo muchas presiones de parte de papá hacia Daniel.
Piazzolla's electronic phase lasted less than 2 years, and towards the end of this period, Daniel was displaced in his father's affections by the woman who would remain with Astor for the rest of his life.
We spent the whole day together when he was alone, but each time this guy got a new girlfriend or a new woman next to him, he forgot absolutely that he has a son.
Laura Escalada.
And that was the way he was.
Felicidades, feliz aniversario.
Laura Escalada, who now runs the Piazzolla Foundation in Buenos Aires, was herself a TV presenter and became Astor's second wife.
Yo pienso que sobre todo
Astor era un hombre muy tierno, naturalmente muy sensible, Pero al mismo tiempo era un chico que había que cuidar. Muy travieso, que hacía bromas constantemente. A mí me las hacía prácticamente todos los días. Todo Astor era pasión. Y yo creo que esa es la forma en la que uno debe trabajar. Nos fuimos a Europa, vivimos mucho tiempo en París y Astor empezó a trabajar lentamente, pero mejor. Nosotros en 1976, cuando nos fuimos, no teníamos un peso. Estamos en 24 de diciembre, pero tenemos que pagar el alquiler los primeros días de enero. ¿Cómo vamos a hacer? No tiene importancia. Fue una Navidad mágica. Lo pasamos maravillosamente bien. Después, en arrepentimiento, porque habíamos comido mucho, nos fuimos caminando hasta una iglesia a escuchar la misa de gallo a la medianoche.
Astor and Laura's favourite place to stay in Paris was on the Ile Saint-Louis near Notre Dame. They developed a close friendship with Paris-based accordionist Richard Galliano, for whom Piazzolla was an inspiration.
Voilà, alors en fait, ce morceau, c'est un morceau de ma composition qui s'appelle Dévoilier et que j'ai composé après avoir beaucoup écouté de disques de Piazzolla. Que la première fois qu'on a donné cette chanson à l'Olympia en concert, Piazzolla était dans la salle. Vraiment une amitié très forte s'est construite à partir de là. Et je crois que notre trait d'union, c'est beaucoup de notre origine italienne à tous les deux, puisque Astor était originaire d'une famille italienne, de Trani en Italie. C'est le même cas pour moi, c'est la région de Rome, de Perugia. Et aussi ce rapport à la chanson. Moi, j'ai toujours adoré la chanson française, mais la chanson en général. Et Astor a écrit de très belles chansons, par exemple comme cette très belle chanson qui s'appelle Chiquiling de Baching. Paris parce qu'il avait passé une partie de sa jeunesse, les études avec Nadia Boulanger. Mais la force de sa musique, c'est ça, c'est qu'il y a à la fois la chanson, à la fois le tango, à la fois la musique savante. Et moi, dans tous les concerts, je joue ce morceau en improvisation, mais je me suis un peu approprié ce morceau, quoi. Je joue... Piazzolla Forever, je suis rentré dans les arrangements, dans la musique, et là j'ai vraiment mesuré tout le travail, tout le choix de chaque note, l'importance de chaque note. Libertango, là je le prends comme un thème de jazz. Et là c'est le seul morceau, d'ailleurs que je joue en solo chaque soir d'une manière différente. Et là je fais une improvisation sur le thème. C'est à peu près ce que je fais sur scène. J'ai réduit un peu le morceau, mais c'est un morceau magique. Parce que je crois qu'il y a quelque chose de magique à l'intérieur, qui est très lisible, très direct pour les gens.
When Piazzolla formed his last quintet in 1978, he invited Pablo Ziegler, a jazz pianist, to join him.
Piazzolla gave me a bunch of music papers, and I had to study in my house during several days and weeks because it was a lot of music. Everything is written, no? It's like a classical music. It's a very personal music. He really changed everything because the fusion between classical and classical from Stravinsky, from Bela Bartok, Stravinsky for some kind of harmonies, no? This kind of that he used. And from Bartok, this kind of rhythm, no? From the first rehearsal was a very special chemistry, no? Between us, and really worked that combination that Piazzolla did. Two guys from the jazz side, two guys from the tango side.
When tango bass player Hector Console joined Piazzolla in 1978, he found the music stretched him to the limit.
Preocupado con la música, que era bastante complicado. Yo venía de trabajar en otros grupos y nos enfrentamos con Astor y ya era otra cosa, era bastante complicado, ¿viste? Formar ese quinteto nos costó 4 o 5 meses más o menos de trabajo intenso. Se tocaban en las orquestas también cosas muy exigidas para contrabajo, pero no tanto como Astor.
They don't come to listen to me because of the word tango or new tango. I mean, that doesn't mean nothing. The people who come in London or in Berlin or New York City or in Montreal, it's just a question of music, doing a new music, and they can find contemporary sounds inside of my music, and that's what they like.
And for one European tour, Piazzolla added an unexpected instrument.
Je présente avec tout mon honneur et l'amour pour lui ce grand musicien nord-américain qui s'appelle Gary Burton.
It was tough for jazz vibraphone star Gary Burton. He was entering a new musical world with little time to learn very complicated scores.
And then the circumstances weren't great either. We were to follow Miles Davis, who started late and played a long 2-hour show, finished it after midnight. So it was a star-studded evening of, a lot of pressure and everything. And it was only our 4th concert on the tour that we were playing all this new music.
When's the last time you saw this video of Montreux?
Well, I actually never have seen it. The truth is, I've never seen it, and it's really taking me back. I mean, this was 1985, I think, so it's almost 20 years ago, and I'm already, the first thing I noticed was how young everybody looks, and it's really making me relive that night. Well, I had a lot more hair then, too. He'd written all this music, and none of us had really had a chance to learn it or play it.
Piazzolla wrote very, very difficult charts, like this, for vibes. And Gary was studying like a crazy, because Piazzolla wrote like chamber musician, everything.
In the case of tango music, like classical music, it's all written out. So there's a lot more music to remember and to play correctly. Even the afternoon of Montreux, once we were there, I remember staying after the sound check and practicing my parts for about an hour.
And Gary studied very much all the things of Astor. He learned so much about the rhythm of Astor and the way of improvisation that is outstanding.
I told Astor, you have to leave some spaces because Gary is one of the great vibes improvisers in the world. He has to demonstrate his ability about this music. You know? No, blah, blah, blah. I like that he learned my way, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
What I write is written, everything, 99%. Improvisation is falling with jazz music, and I don't like to make a competition with jazz music.
For me, that was what was really enthralling about it, was the chance to become a tango musician instead of a jazz musician. Astor's case, he wanted me to improvise, but he didn't want me to play typical jazz improvising. He would have little spots in the music. He would say, there, do something in that measure, or during that few seconds there, add something. And in fact, one time I hit the music stand by mistake. You know, I was flailing around and I hit the music stand. It made a big black sound, and Astor said, yeah, do it, do more, which really cracked me up. But he loved it. That was the kind of thing that they all did as a matter of routine. Year that I spent quite a bit of time with him really changed my life as a musician, and I felt I had really crossed paths with one of the handful of genius musicians that was around during my lifetime, and so I'll always remember it.
With the money he earned on his exhausting tours, Astor and Laura bought a house in Punta del Este, near the coast in Uruguay.
We are here at Punta del Este, where Astor used to come every summer and he stayed for 2 months. And this is a very quiet area where he owned a house, and he would invite his friends, and some of them would stay at the house. Buenos días. ¿Podemos visitar la casa? Esta era la casa de Astor Piazzolla. Muchas gracias.
Él disfrutó mucho esa casa, y en esa casa, como ya teníamos más de una habitación, era más grande, escribía a la mañana, siempre. Desde las 8 de la mañana, hacía un break mediodía para comer algo, y estudiaba de una manera muy extraña. Él nunca tocó el bandoneón en casa.
Punta del Este, bon, ben là c'est Laura avec le petit York toujours. Astor adorait les animaux, hein. C'était leur enfant. Astor à Punta del Este aussi. Ça c'est dans la correspondance, il nous envoyait des photos. C'était vraiment une amitié très belle et vraiment qui s'est arrêtée brutalement avec la mort d'Astor, quoi.
Each dog that my father had, each dog has a piece of music. And each woman also.
Mumuki is, some people think it's a Japanese motorcycle. It's not. Mumuki is how I call this two feminines in my life, my wife and my dog Flora.
And he always had at least 2. Sometimes he traveled through Paris and carried his dogs with him. This is one of the beaches he used to come with Laura. He loved to swim. He had a passion for the sea.
In March 1980, Piazzolla gave a famous premiere in the nearby cathedral of Maldonado. The bandoneon, for so long associated with sex and low life, was back where it began, inside a church.
This was invented in 1854 in Germany to play religious music, church music. They didn't have any money to buy an organ or a harmonium, and they invented this. And I understand that very many sailors play this instrument, and that's the reason how it got to Argentina. And they started playing this instrument in the whorehouses. But the Italian accordion players quickly adapted this instrument to play tango because it had a very sad sound. It had like a velvet sound.
He was commissioned to write the Suite Punta del Este for bandoneon and chamber orchestra. Piazzolla was very moved. He particularly liked the second movement because when he played the second movement, he always thought of Bach playing his harmonium. He was a religious man, and he became more religious in some stages of his life, particularly when he was married to Laura Escalada.
Y a pesar de que Astor había nacido en Mar del Plata, a 400 kilómetros de esta capital, donde también hay unas playas maravillosas, él quiso ir a Punta del Este porque había menos gente en aquella época y a él eso le gustaba muchísimo. Y iba a pescar en la bicicleta o con la moto, después yo lo iba a buscar o yo lo acompañaba y pescaba y cazaba tiburones. porque Los Tiburones fue la gran pasión de Astor.
Several times a week, Astor hired Dante Rinaldi, along with his boat, for all-day shark fishing trips.
Vamos hasta la punta ahí. La embarcación mía, la casa de Piazzolla. Por lo general él era un hombre que cuando salía a pescar, lo que hacía era descarbonizarse todo lo que tenía en la cabeza. Le gustaba tener aire, charlar con nosotros, pero de música no. Porque yo solo tengo la probabilidad de sacar yo, con las 4 cañas. Y si llevo invitados, resulta que sacan ellos y yo no saco ninguno. Entonces, no llevo más a nadie, iba solo. Fue un recuerdo muy lindo para mí tenerlo, como yo lo tuve casi 10 años saliendo a pescar conmigo. Y parece que estábamos más en el agua que en tierra. Estábamos pescando siempre. Ese es un disco que me regaló don Astor, dedicado a mí, que ya tiene sus años y que está grabado en el Escualo. Me dio una sorpresa con este disco, porque vino de Dante, le traigo este regalo.
Squalo means shark. If you close your eyes, you are fishing a shark with that music.
Piazzolla wrote this piece for his violinist, Fernando Suárez Paz.
Me dice, esto lo escribí para vos con todo amor. La verdad que no se nota el amor, pero le salió mal el chiste porque resulta que es una obra muy tocada.
He compared the shark with the audience in a concert. He once told, if I can still take a shark out of the water, I can still play bandoneon. The day I couldn't take a shark out, I couldn't play anymore the bandoneon.
Piazzolla wrote many scores for mostly inferior films. In 1985, he was persuaded by the Argentinian director Fernando Solanas to compose the music for what turned out to be a multi-award-winning movie.
Con Piazzolla tuvimos grandes diferencias, sobre todo cuando viene la dictadura. No pensábamos igual. Piazzolla era un genio musical, pero el pensamiento de Piazzolla, social y político, no era el más avanzado que digamos. En ese sentido se parecía en algo a Borges. Que a pesar de sus opiniones, ¿no es cierto?, y de sus equívocos, logró expresar la angustia, la melancolía, la nostalgia, la melancolía, la depresión tan típica del hombre porteño, del hombre de la ciudad de Buenos Aires o del suburbio. Pero como era un film musical, el exilio de Gardel era una suerte de libro de cuentos, suite de cuentos y de metáforas coreográficas en base al tango. Yo la puedo hacer la música la semana que viene. ¿En una semana? Sí, te la puedo hacer. Tengo una semana libre, te la hago. Mandame un piano. Entonces le mandé un pequeño piano que lo puso en la pieza del hotel en la Madeleine, en París. Bueno, yo te llamo el sábado, porque el domingo me voy de gira. Bueno, ¿y cómo se va a hacer todo esto? Mirá, el plan es, yo te grabo en una semana la música, si te parece bien, fenómeno, etcétera. Pero yo no tenía ninguna posibilidad de decirle ni bien ni mal, ya si me gustaba la música bien y si no, la tiraba. Y después te doy la ocasión de grabar el lunes 4 de noviembre en Bruselas. Pero ¿cómo? En un día vamos a grabar y mezclar, necesito 40, 45 minutos de música. Esto se graba. Yo solo tengo un día disponible con el quinteto. A las 4 de la tarde estaban grabados los 40 minutos de música y en 2 horas mezcló toda la música. A las 6:05 estaban los coches para llevarlo al aeropuerto. Increíble.
One of the compositions was called Tangedia.
We say Tangedia, it's a mixture of tango, tragedy, and comedy.
It's a very simple composition, but it has inside of it
all that meaning of that rough tango.
more or less.
El día del estreno en París, en la primera función del cine principal, el cine Ambassade en Champs-Élysées, en la primera función, creo que era la mediodía, 1 de la tarde, estaba Piazzolla. Pero además de eso la vio 2 veces seguidos con el cronómetro en la mano para medir exactamente la cantidad de minutos de su música que había incorporado en la película. Bueno.
I love that my father wrote the music of those films, because those films represent the exilio and the situation of many Argentinians out of here and in this country.
In 1976, Diana had been a victim of the military coup by generals of Argentina's armed forces. She and her husband fled their brutal 7-year dictatorship and went to Mexico. In 1979, she was appalled when her father, returning from Paris, accepted a lunch invitation from the ruling junta's General Videla.
My father was very contradictory, muy contradictorio. Un día es de derecha, otro día es de izquierda. No era un tipo claro políticamente, pero ni yo... Cuando me entero de eso por los diarios, Astor Piazzolla almorzó con Videla, yo solamente sé el dolor que sentí. Le hablé y saqué una nota, yo era periodista en El Sol de México y en el Excelsior, yo trabajaba en el Excelsior, diciendo que nunca voy a perdonarle a mi padre que haya comido con quienes me echaron a mí del país.
Daniel became further estranged from the father he'd once been so close to.
There were so many problems in those years that when we met each other, we didn't know how to react or say, what can I call this guy? I say, hello, Papa, give him a kiss and embrace him. And he felt the same. He didn't tell me what he felt, but I know he felt the same. He didn't know how to react with me. But I gave an embracement and I kissed him. And instead of saying, hi, Daniel, he told me, do you like my tie?
he didn't know what to talk about. We didn't know what to talk about. It's incredible.
Later, Diana was reconciled with her father when he came to see her in Mexico City. She began interviewing him on tape for a book that became a kind of novelized version of his life.
O sea que había que aceptarlo a papá como era, entenderlo como era, porque aparte, si vos escuchás la música y escuchás la historia esta que yo te estoy contando, yo creo que la música y la historia de él tienen todo que ver. Su música, digamos, es un poco la expresión de lo que él era realmente, ¿no?
On Diana's wall is her father's music, to which Fernando Solanas added words for their second film collaboration, Sur.
Como se vuelve siempre al amor, vuelvo a vos, con mi deseo, con mi temor, llevo el sur, como un destino del corazón.
The song has now become very popular. It's part of the repertoire of the Paris-based Gotan Project, where tango meets techno.
Sueño al sur, inmensa luna, cielo al revés, mojo el sur, el tiempo abierto y su después.
The beginning of the Gotan Project started with this track, with Vuelvo el Sur. And I proposed to Christophe Eduardo to make a cover of this track, because maybe it was one of my favorite tracks that I knew before, from Piazzolla. And so it's a film soundtrack. And we love film soundtrack.
Te quiero sur.
The visual aspect is really important in our show.
Te quiero sur.
The images some of them are old images from tango culture, also from Argentina, and some are filmed, dancers that are filmed.
We wanted to bring back tango to something more percussive and hypnotic. We wanted to do something in between all the traditional concerts to the DJ culture also. Piazzolla wanted to show to the people that tango is not only a dance, but music in itself. And I think we wanted to bring back tango to the dance floor. After the first show that we've done in London at the Royal Festival Hall, the title of the review was Clubbers and Tango Dancers Unite.
Tango is a vertical rape,
said Piazzolla, quoting the Argentinian writer Borges.
When they dance it, the tango, the couple gets so together that it looks like a rape. But it's not my purpose of writing passionate or sensual or sexual music. It's not my idea. I think that tango has all that feeling.
Y yo creo que cuando Piazzolla escribió, no pensó en que su música se podía bailar. Hoy la música de Piazzolla se baila en casi todos los ballets del mundo y se pueden hacer espectáculos como el nuestro, donde
nosotros hacemos una gran variedad de bailes sobre la música de Piazzolla.
En Tango Pasión está el coreógrafo que es Héctor Saraspe. Queremos que no se pierda la esencia del tango y poder adaptar cosas modernas como es la revolución que fue la música de Piazzolla.
Es la última danza de abrazo creada por el hombre y donde hay mucho contacto físico. Yo creo que cada tango, que dura aproximadamente 3 minutos, es una historia de amor diferente. Entonces, a las mujeres en general, en todo el mundo, todo lo que esté relacionado con el amor, les gusta.
For me, Piazzolla's music is very sensual. And it's a tremendous experience to play that. And,
Piazzolla wrote 2 of his last compositions for the Kronos Quartet.
I think the first time that we met him, he had already sent us the score to 4 for Tango. And he and Fernando Suarez Paz came over to our rehearsal. The group felt very nervous that day that these 2 legendary musicians were coming over.
En una oportunidad me llama de San Francisco y me dice: venite para acá porque esta gente no sabe tocar. Y era el cuarteto Kronos. Era uno de los mejores cuartetos del mundo. Yo digo, ¿cómo es posible? No es posible. Tocan muy bien, son excelentes. Y me dice, no saben tocar. ¿Y qué pasa? Él escribía todo así como ustedes pueden ver acá. Ponía lija, ponía figuración y a veces no. Ponía tambor, ponía pero ¿cómo van a saber de que lija es esto? Que tiene que ser algo de percusión. El tambor, como ya les dije antes, tiene que ser percusión también. Y eso no está escrito. Y está escrito, pero a la forma de Piazzolla.
And he said, you just do it. And I said, Fernando, not all of us just do it. We need to learn how. Piazzolla's sense of sound and his sense of music has influenced the Kronos Quartet in a very profound way. When we played together and rehearsed together, he became another member of our group. And it felt like for one day, Kronos had 5 members, and we were fortunate that it was Astor Piazzolla.
This picture is very important because it was the last time that I could talk with my father. This picture is from the 11th of March of 1989, 1 year before his stroke. The next time I saw my father after this night, I saw him in the airport of Argentina in coma, very extremely ill. I couldn't talk anymore with him.
In 1988, Piazzolla underwent a quadruple bypass operation. In 1990, on an August Sunday in Paris, with many projects still being planned, he collapsed in the shower while getting ready to attend Mass.
Y Astor dijo unas palabras que nunca le conté a nadie y prácticamente estaba sin sentido. El director que dirigía ese hospital, menos mal que yo hablo francés porque si no jamás me hubiera enterado de nada, me miraba desde lejos y me decía que no me ocupara más porque total se iba a morir. Bueno, Astor y yo habíamos siempre hablado mucho de la muerte porque los dos queríamos las mismas cosas. Morir en Buenos Aires, por sobre todas las cosas.
Richard Galliano and his wife went with Laura in the ambulance to the airport.
Et la dernière image que j'ai d'Astor, je vous dis, c'était la panique. Il y avait donc les pompiers, il manquait l'oxygène parce qu'il a fait un voyage en passant par l'Espagne pour aller en Argentine. Et la dernière vision, c'est donc cet avion qui a décollé avec Astor, en sachant que j'espérais le revoir. Il est parti, mais le miracle de la musique, leur musique est toujours vivante.
Piazzolla returned to Argentina in a cabin converted into an intensive care unit on the orders of the president, Carlos Menem.
Y estaba paralítico y te movía nada más que la mano izquierda. Como él era zurdo, esas cosas que uno tiene en la vida cuando ama mucho a una persona, yo tenía la esperanza de que a lo mejor, como era zurdo, iba a poder seguir escribiendo. Pero no fue así.
Ironically, Piazzolla's last months brought father and son together again.
I became his guardian. I mean, I became his doctor. I did everything for him. I'd rather speak in Spanish, if you don't mind, Mike. Can express myself better. Entonces, al principio no hacía nada cuando yo entraba, pero a medida que pasaba el tiempo se ponía contento cuando yo entraba a la habitación y, bueno, yo lo cuidaba, me abusaba de él porque le daba besos, lo abrazaba, cosas que a él nunca le gustaron, que lo abracen, que lo toqueteen mucho. Y bueno, estuvimos casi 2 años, 23 meses, yo cuidándolo hasta que Astor falleció el 4 de julio de 1992. That's the end of the story.
But it's not quite the end of the story. Since Piazzolla's death, his music has increasingly been heard and played all over the world, in a way he could only dream of during his life.
There were people that loved my father and people that hate him. That day everybody loved him. In the cemetery, and after when we took him to the place where he's resting right now, was contrabajissimo sounding for all the cemetery. I think it's one of the most beautiful pieces that he wrote.
Siento que el personaje de mi viejo está metido dentro mío de una manera muy fuerte, ¿no? Y me da risa porque dirigiéndome a él le digo, bueno, basta, papá, ya con esto cumplí. O sea, ya te devolví un montón de cosas que para mí yo creo que el mundo tiene que saber acerca de la vida de Piazzolla, ¿no?
Aunque nos hubiéramos peleado hacía 5 minutos, el momento más lindo de todos era cuando hacíamos la música.